ngiyayizwa isifikile inkazimulo ngiyayibona isifikile
on Twitter and Instagram at Car Radio, and like our Facebook page, Car Radio Worldwide, and check out our website www.carradio.co.za.
Yes, yeah, we are live now on Facebook. Shalom, shalom, shalom. I hope you are well. Yebo lifikile lo suku bakithi la ku Friday khona. Yabona mase ku Friday ke isikhathi esimnandi ke lesi sikhathi sokujabula, isikhathi sokubonga uJesu yena ongumdali wezulu nomhlaba, yena osinikeza ukunqoba ke. Yabona ngalesi sikhathi ke la khona sithi inkosi sizodla okuhle kwezwe. Yabona ke sijabula sithokoza izwi kaNkuluNkulu kuyilona elisiphampayo nelisdrivayo until size sibe lana ke. Siyabonga ke yebo ke si live ku Car Radio as njengoba wazi ke ukuthi ngalesi sikhathi we always ukuthi ngihlezi nawe just to look izinto that are happening around as we live life with teens and young adults as well as adults, la sibuka khona impilo ukuthi ihamba kanjani ke isibekaphi mase kuyilezi sikhathi ke noma kuyilempilo. Yebo ke bakithi umhla 26 ku February la khona sibuka ukuthi inyanga yothando bakithi ke siyayivala, and njengoba siyivala ke kumnandi ngiyakholwa ukuthi ubuzule lo ntofontofo lokho akuphatheka kahle lo baba umnandi yebo ke uhleli naye ke bakithi ke lo khulumayo Pastor Ntombiyezwi mamngomezulu Shezi ku car radio kwi afternoon drive la sibheka khona ke bakithi I post budget speech by uminister wethu ke bakithi ke uTitomboweni which namhlanje sizobe ke sibukelwa ke sesanphekelwa ke ilapha na ke insizwa yabona eseyintsha shake ke mina ngithi ke kulonyaka ke bakithi iqeda ikhalenda linjengoba linjalo ke ithi nje 31 years yabona kayikho into emnandi ngaleyo I just remember myself when I was 31 years so kumnandi ke ngithi nje shalom to you hope you have enjoyed ukuqala kweviki kuzobe manje abaningi ke siyazi ukuthi makuyi Friday basoke begcina emsebenzini even though abanye bayaqhubeka abanye ke basebenza ama shift kanjalo so if it's your birthday today weleke I would like to send shout out kuma wethu noma ugogo wethu ugogo Suoane lapha na ka cake bakithi ozalwayo namhlanje ke sithi nje ukhuleke ukhokhobe salukazi sethu siyakuthanda ke uzofinyelela kule yaminyaka oyithanda ngaphela wonke umuntu usuke ne desire ukuthi ufuna ukuthi akhule azabe mngakanani nawe kozalwayo namhlanje I would like to say happy birthday to you I send that emoji ke yekhekhe bakithi ne champagne ne glass ke ukuthi uenjoy usuku lwakho as well as laba kabazozala nge weekend ngithi nje enjoy I weekend ukujabulele ke bakithi ukuzala yabona ke kumnandi ukuzala kuphela isonto kuphele nenyanga yabona yonke into amatafula yanganqa yabona ke those colors ke angisafuna ukuthi u7 colors ebasikhuza bathi akusewona u7 colors so ke kuyanqanqa konke ke wele ke kumnandi kanjalo ke sizobingelela ke kuwena ke mfokazama shalom
shalom pastor shalom kuwena shalom nakubalaleli becar radio
yebo siyakholwa ukuthi usuku lokuphathe kahle ke namhlanje noma izinsuku zonke lokusagcinana ngolesithathu ledlule ukuthi likuphathe kahle ke isonto lonke
hayi nami ngisajabule bajwayele ukuthi abantu thank God it's Friday so nami ke ngisho njalo ngithi thank God indeed it's Friday ulohlano oluhle kakhulu siyabonga inkosi
wow siyabonga ke hey yabona ke sibheke lapha na kulehlano namandla ke ezinje sekuselinyanga eyodwa sithi nje lolo lehlano la khona imvana ke ekwenze kanjalo ke esiphambaneni but ke okukhulu kakhulu ke namhlanje singabuka izinto siphathele zona ezisasithembisile ke yabona ke mina ngiyathanda mangithembisile bakithi ukuthi ngiphinde ngenze lento engithembisile unless ingekho emandleni nami I understand but ke today ibile semandleni ukuthi uJesu uvumile kanjalo ke nami ngabamba ngamandla yabona benginawo yokuthi ke sikwazi ukufika namhlanje egameni lika Jesu kuyintambama ke namhlanje ke Mr Zama mhlawumbe masingathi nje ukurecap kancane ukuthi sasikhuluma ngani last week on Wednesday and lokho kustrivele ukuthi size namhlanje
well ngibonga kakhulu umfundisi Shezi sasibuka ukuthi yini esingayilindela kusabelo sasimali sakhe ungqongqoshe ezisimali ubaba uTitomboweni sakhuluma okuningi ukuthi yini engenzeka ngoba siyazi ukuthi izwe lisabhekene nenselele enkulu ukushaqeka isifo lesesifikile esibhubhisa abantu abaningi khona lezweni lakithi baningi futhi nakhona ba infecteka kakhulu nezwe lonke la affecteka njengoba sabona no lockdown zonke izinto zenzeka so sasabona ukuthi uhulumeni wethu ngosadini lezimali uzozama kanjani ukuthi abantu abakwazi ukuthi abatakule kulolubishi lo lesesingene kulona nalabantu baningi siyazi ukuthi baningi amabhizinisi athinteka amabhizinisi amaningi avalwa inqaba yabantu yalahlekelwa imisebenzi so if kwenzeka kanjalo siyazi ukuthi uhulumeni siyazi uhulumeni uthatha intela kwabantu abasebenzayo uhulumeni uthatha intela kweinkampani so konke lokho kwalimaza kakhulu kwenza ukuthi even imali uhulumeni ayitholayo ingena kwenza ukuthi abancane so besilindele kakhulu ukuthi ke yena ke ungqongqoshe uzothini ke isimali lesonto then ukhulumile ke sesothinta ukuthi ngempela ke yini ke kuthina kuzo affecta kanjani kuthina kwibudget ke ephaketheni lethu singabantu siphila nje emhlabeni ukuthi yini ke futhi okuhle esizakulindela ukuthi le budget siyazi ukuthi baningi abakhulumile ngala abanye begxeka abanye bencoba besha lokho nalokho amazabaningi so ke sizozama ukuthi ke sicathulisane ukuthi sibheke ukuthi ngempela isho ukuthini ukuthina sizakhamza khona la eMzansi Afrika
amen siyabonga kakhulu ngoba kubalekile njengoba sasikhuluma even nangazi ukuthi even indaba siyakholwa ukuthi even on Wednesday you watch lesikhathi ke ungqongqoshe ethula sona ke iyona ke ukuthi Sabelo sezimali South Africa yonkana ngiyakholwa ukuthi waba ingxenye ke indaba ngiyakholwa ukuthi awusayizibi from that day until this day until coming years you'll always been ukuthi wazi ukuthi kwenzakalani and then thina siqambe sesiyakhuluma sesikhuluma just ukukhanyisa laphana osuke ungazwanga khona kahle ukuthi khona ke bese bechazana bese bethini ke laphana. Ngiyazi ukuthi bakithi ke abantu abaningi ezisisho ukuthi even eSouth Africa ke bakithi abantu babebuka ukuthi ke inyuwe ngamalini. Such a grand. So ke lezo zinto siyazi seniyibonile nazizwa kwenzeka, but sizobuka ke even especially nezinto eziqondene nathi ezabantu abasha ama teens and young adults and so forth. Sizogcila kakhulu naseyintweni kanjalo, even though it's not that much, but sizokwazi ukubuka then bese siyakwazi ukuthi ke sikhulume nawe egameni lika Jesu. Over to you Mr. Zama.
Ngibonga kakhulu futhi ithuba mfundisi uShezi. Mhlambe ke sibheke la oqala ngaphambi kuba singene kuyona isabelo sesimali, sibheke ukuthi kakhulukazi lapha ekhaya uyabuka umuntu omusha ukuthi ngabe likhona mhlawumbe ufuna ekhaya, usafuna umsebenzi, mhlawumbe uyafunda, usacabanga ukuthi izwe njengoba linje imisebenzi ingatholakala kanje, if ngiqeda le qualification engenza ngizothola yini umsebenzi. Mhlawumbe uqedile qualification yakho base uhlele ekhaya umsebenzi awutholi, mhlawumbe lo munye ke mhlawumbe uyacabanga ukuthi libone lenye ishishini elingalivula ukuthi mhlawumbe nami ngithuthukise empilweni, ngivule ibhizinisi, ngikwazi ukuthi nami ngisize nabanye ke mhlawumbe abanye abanjengami abakhona emphakathini abangasebenzi. So sizobuka ke ukuthi sibuka ama statistics, sakhuluma nalokho ukuthi ke kuleli sonto silindele ukuthi uStatus A uyena ozo release ama figures awo, ama stats awo kuleli sonto. Wa releaseile ke ama stats ande siwabheka kakhulu, sifuna ukuthola ukuthi ke inani labantu abangasebenzi ezweni lingakanani. So sitholile ke lokho ukuthi since the last third quarter of last year, which was the year 2020, the unemployment rate in South Africa was 32.5%. Shuthi lo linani liphezulu kakhulu, akulindelekile ukuthi izwe elinjengathi, because siyazi ukuthi now we are considered as the emerging economy or the developing economy. So siqhathaniswa namazwe anjengo Brazil, amazwe anjengo Argentina, amazwe anjengo India. So iwona amazwe lawo if we compare umnotho wethu, we benchmarked ourselves with those kind of countries. So those are the developing nations. We are not yet the developed nations like ama countries anjengo USA, ama countries anjengo Japan or Germany or Britain ngabala lapho nalapha. Noma ke China yona naba isabuwa as the developing nation, but even though it seems like it's a developed nation because if you look at their economy, they are the second largest economy, but in terms of reserve, in terms of their current account balance of their surplus that they have, so they are well developed, so they are ahead of United States of America. So sibuka lokho. So siyabuka ke size la izweni lethu ukuthi uStatus release ama figures athola ukuthi from the ages of 16 and 34 years, the people who are unemployed in South Africa, the youth who's unemployed is 63%. Which is not really the good news, it's a bad news entirely.
Very bad,
So lokho kumele ukuthi kushintshe. So the government has to do something, it has to intervene. It needs to come with a robust or a radical change in order to change the situation around. So let's figure, because if in unemployment rates, we calculate unemployment rates, there's a expanded definition as well as the strict definition. Expanded definition ibala naloyo umuntu ofuna umsebenzi but osegive up osehlele ekhaya ngenxa izathu ezithize ukuthi no ngiyawuzama amathuba omsebenzi but angisawatholi. So ingakho kuthiwa khona expanded definition, but strict definition ekuyona lesisebenza ngayo simngaba sisi 32.5% of unemployment in South Africa. Ileyo kwesibheka abantu emasontweni amathathu noma ababili adlule abasukumile bahamba bayofuna amathuba emsebenzi. So sihlukanisa kanjalo ukuthi sikwazi ukuthi kodwa siyabona ukuthi konke ukubili but unemployment rate in South Africa inkulu kakhulu. So sibuka ke isabelo sezimali, siyabona ukuthi uhulumeni is facing the waging of the pandemic, as well as the weaker economy, as well as siyazi ukuthi also the unemployment rate is extremely high, iphezulu ke ngendlela emangalisayo, as well as the ailing state-owned entities. So the companies that are owned by government are also struggling financially. So government has to do something. But unfortunately for them in these budgets, they were not included. But if you go deeper parts in the supplementary budgets of last year of 2020, they were included. So even even if in this year they would receive some funds, even though it was not mentioned with budget speech.
Okay.
That's why we told some unions like COSATU and also the affiliates of COSATU or FEDUSA or NOMSA, even SATU, they are also complaining because there's a chunk of money that goes to aid those state-owned companies.
Sure.
Because there are people who are usually these budgets. So there are also those people voting about daily budgets.
Yes.
Yeah, but there are those, for example, the unions who are also complaining about the public wage bill.
Yes.
We know kule budgets le uhulumeni into ayenzile say no, he will cut the spending for over the next 3 years, which is the medium-term expenditure framework, by 264.4 billion rand. So that money would have been going to pay the state nurses, the doctors, all people, and also the police officers. So that money that was cut by 5.5% to 4.4% in the next coming 3 years. So ngalokho sithola ngakho inyunyane, so they made a call, they made an appeal. Because bahambe baye court in the labor court, which was last year, which they failed. So they failed, so the court then dismissed the application. Well, then they escalated the matter to the constitutional courts. So now we are waiting the ruling of the constitutional court to go to Nizotin. As you know, the public, the national treasurer, is also filed an affidavit to the constitutional courts saying that they don't have the funds so to pay also the the public sector wage bill, so the wages. Remembering that in 2020, last year in 2020, the unions that are complaining ukuthi imali zabo anyusanga zabasebenzi babo. So even in this budget, they are not even included. Because the budgets is more austerity. Even though no, this is not an austerity budget. Because the 66% of the budget still go to the social service of the country. But still there, if you look at the real terms and numbers, because there's a nominal terms as well as the real terms. In nominal terms is where you include the inflation, but in real terms is where you minus the inflation. So down in real terms, you know that's the spending and also as decline in real terms. Then you can then say that there is a mild version of the austerity in this budget. Others say that they are saying this budget is favoring the poor. The pro-poor, this was the pro-poor budgets, meaning that the people who receive social grants, grants is no or as well. Those people who were then included last year in the relief package, the distress grant, the 350 distress grants, they are also included in the budget,
which is still continuing.
Yes, it did continue for these 3 months. So they are also in favor. So now by include the budget. But the working class, which is the middle class, those people who are working, those people who are crying to their unions, so their wages are once going to be increased for the next 3 years, not just 2020 alone, but in 2021, 2022, and 2023. So the argument of our government of this budget is that they are trying to stabilize our public debts. Remember that our debts at the moment, the deficit that we have is 14% of our GDP. Meaning that in 2024 to 2025, our public debt will be 88. If you look at the debt to GDP ratio, this is will be standing out of the 88% of our GDP. So for now, if we are saying in real terms, equally to Hulman Axon and Jagamanje is 6.2 trillion rand. The money that we have. That's why we owe a lot of people a lot of money. We owe people like the investors, the pensioners, and even the ordinary South Africans. Because in order for, remember, the budget is just 1.3 trillion rand, but we are expecting to spend more than 2 trillion rand. So now that gap, which is the deficit, where we're going to get the money, this means that government So that's there are those people who are financial institutions and even ordinary South Africa. So government, what does it do in order to source that funds? So government wisha no keeping the to our bonds. Not only the banks that issue the bonds, even the government does issue bonds. For example, there's a treasury bill bond, which is available in this country. So that's those local technical cool. But in they do offer bonds in order for them, so So when if you buy the bonds from them, you become the bond holder.
Okay.
Because when we are the surplus parts, when unemali when order kusubole kuhulumeni ukuthi at this time ukwazi ukuthi ithole with an interest.
Okay.
So manje uhulumeni because akanayo imali njengamanje ukuthi aspend to order to fund these projects awabalele kwi budgets. So in other words you will boleka imali kuwena or in the banks or even in my pensioners or in the PIC Public Investment Corporation where the pensioners manzi ahlala khona. So there's also lezo imali akwazi ukuthi afund ama projects awu kusakwazi ukuthi aqakule umnotho ezweni lesesikulona. So we had futhi kwi budget. Now if we are going to ama figures now, if you go into figures, we know that the plan of the government from last year in the supplementary budgets which came after the tragedy or of the pandemic. So then they decided to go to now because they know that a lot of people have lost their jobs, especially the young people of South Africa. So they were planning to roll out or to spend 88.32 billion rand in order to aid the people who are not working in South Africa, especially the young people. And also remember also there's a program within the president office which is called the presidential youth initiatives, which is aimed to address the unemployment among the youth of South Africa. So that's figure now if you add with it to today's or this week's budgets is totaling 100 billion rand, which that the targets of the government will be reached if indeed this money will roll over in order to help the young people to find the employment. So those are the things that we have to highlight, which is also the major. Another thing also we heard that the small business development will also receive the 4 billion rand in order to help the small business, even though it's not enough because there are still businesses who are still struggling even today. There are still businesses who are still waiting for the support from the government even today, especially in the tourism as well as the hospitality sector. So those businesses have been negatively affected by the COVID, by the pandemic as well as the lockdown. So those are the issues that we have to look into. So because there's a major, but the biggest major issue that I've mentioned before is about the public sector wage bill, which I think which will going on until we had the ruling of the Constitutional Court. And it will be interesting what will be the ruling of the Constitutional Court, because if the Constitutional Court rules in favor of the workers of the unions, then it's going to be the problem to our national treasury. Because where they were going to get the money in order to fund or in order to increase the money is the salaries of their employees. So that is the challenge, because at the moment they don't have any money left. So now the option maybe is to go to the BRICS banks or African Bank or World Bank or IMF, International Monetary Fund, in order to get the funding. But the problem, I was listening to the post-budget briefing by Ntombiyezwi himself, when he then mentioned that going to this financial institution in order to find money, in order to get the loan, there are some conditionalities, which it's not easy to get the loan from them, because they know maybe the interest that we have to pay back is extremely high. Because remember that for now, we are going to, with the each rent that we get, with the each rent that the government will receive, 20% of that money, so meaning 20 cents in 1 rand, will go to service our debts. So we're paying the interest on our debts for that 20 cents. So now, just imagine if we are now looking another funding or another loan, so that the country will then end up being like Greece. We remember what happened in Greece when they introduced the austerity measures, where the country as a whole was bankrupt. So now it's depending on other countries as well. So we don't want to find the country in that situation.
Yo. So ngiyabonga kakhulu, because lezi zinto lezi izinto ngempela that you find ourselves ukuthi siyibuza ukuthi kwenzakalani, because even as we were hearing besitshela and opening up, even after minister esesitshela noma ungqongqoshe esesitshela ukuthi indlela ayibeke ngayo to save abantu, noma isibonile strike ukuthi sigcine but when it comes to izinto okhuluma ngazo namhlanje, it makes our mind to think like mina, let's say ngiumbukeli manje or ngumlaleli ku car radio ukuthi really, and then what yipi mina into okumele ngiyifake noma yini okumele ngiyenze towards izinto nawe sebekiwe or ilokhuzana i-speech budget sesithuliwe ukuthi ngenzani ke mina as umuntu omusha ke manje.
So what I wish I can highlight is the positivity
Yes.
Side of this budget.
Okay.
Maybe we can look at the tax rates before we go to young people. How can they benefit?
Okay.
Because the good news is that we know that's the plan of the government. This was mentioned by Cyril Ramaphosa himself in the State of the Nation address when he came with the plan to accelerate the economic growth and also coming with the economic reconstruction development plan in order to recover the economy. Remember that in this budget, 792 billion rand will go to fund these projects. That's why now last year in 2020, National Treasury introduced the Vulindlela. So Vulindlela will be the initiatives which will then try to remove any obstacles or any hindrance in their projects.
Yes.
Because remember, in any project that the government trying to roll out, there will be obstacles. There'll be issues of corruption in the process.
Yes.
So that's why then Vulindlela will try to fast track or accelerate the growth to make sure that indeed the employment is that's created to our people. Then we that's the target that the government has set in order for in 2030 where you want to create at least 1 million jobs for our people. So all those things has to be reached. And then the problem is that remember that last year, this is the bad news, last year that the economy contracted by 7.2%. So obviously we were in recession as the country. But now the positive is that the government is projecting that the economy this year will grow by 3.2%. But again, it's still far below our neighbors. No, not our neighbors, but our peers. The countries that I mentioned, which are the developing nations, the emerging economies, the countries like China and India. India is expecting the economy to grow by 11.1% this year. Whereas we are expecting 3.2%. Which I think we won't able to achieve to attain that figure. We must maybe reach to 3% or even 2.9%. And also China is expecting the economy to grow by 8.1% this year. So in order to create the jobs that the government is talking about in its speeches, in order to reach the targets that the government is setting the National Development Plan of 1 million jobs by 2030. The economy has to grow at least by 6%. But now we are just 50% away. Which seems like impossible, but I don't want to say impossible. But if you look at the 3.2%, so in that 3%, that means there won't be a job that will be created enough. So what can I advise to the young people of South Africa and the youth of South Africa? We then say the best way, because the job market has become so much competitive, and we see that even big companies, your large companies, which were the hope to employ our youth or our people in South Africa, they are also in financial distress. So they are reinventing their corporations, the way they operate, the way they do things, because now we are living in the digital age. Now they are trying to cope and trying to compete with other foreign companies. So now we have the fourth industrial revolution. So now they are also trying to save costs by means possible, because when these large companies are trying to save costs, obviously they want to cut jobs to try to increase their inefficiency. So the best way that we can try and compete with large economies or take our situation from this mess is make sure that our youth people start businesses, try to be innovative. Because recently our president, he was mentioning the plan to roll out the robotics and coding programs in 200 public schools. Because now the times have changed, because now there's the employers, which are the companies or in the private sector. Now the skills that they are looking for, they are not funding to this unemployed youth of South Africa. So even those people who have qualification, who are graduates, but they need to reskill themselves in order to enter the job market. But the best possible way is to start your own business, try to be innovative. Let's copy countries like China, let's countries like India, like Japan, even US, who are also depending on small businesses. Because the jobs that we need in this country will be created by the small businesses. That's why this budget for me wasn't inspiring at all, because there was no much focus on small businesses and how government will try and help those small businesses in township areas, in rural areas, in urban poor areas. So that's what there's a problem. So my advice is to them is try and re-skill themselves, try the new skills, and also make sure that you start and open your own business venture, so that you'll be able to help not only yourself but your community, because there are a lot of young people who also looking for employment. There are a lot of young people who are at school, who are in TVT colleges, who are in universities, who are in private colleges, who will be looking for jobs in the next couple of years or so. Start your own business, open your own venture, and try to address the unemployment rate that we have in this country. So that will be my advice.
So I've got postile, even when you want to register your own company, ukuthi now ama-figures akhona ukuthi it's free and all that, ukuthi it has been set ngalendlela ukuthi many people they were thinking ukuthi it's so expensive. But indlela mhlawumbe ungasipha usihighlightele kancane lapho.
Well, we are living in a country where if you don't have any knowledge you have to pay for it. So if you are ignorant, someone will take the advantage of that and make you pay for you being ignorant. And last year government, it was a medium term budget policy statement. It was mentioned, even Ramaphosa in 500 billion rand package, relief package, even mentioned that now it is easy to open business. If you go to the government websites or small business website, go to Peace Portal, you can just open your business, the register of business in a matter of hours. You know, but if you go, I'll say, if you ask someone, will then say, no, if you want me to help you, you have to pay me this much. If one CSD, you have to pay me this much. You know, if you want the tax clearance from SALSA, we have to get this much. But you'll find that if you go to SALSA, you find this thing is free. You can do it by yourself. You know, so the knowledge is very important. If you go to, we have now a National Youth Development Agency. We have all the information that you must need. You can go to see that, so those agencies, all the information that you require in order to open your business, you can go there. So you can go to the IDC, Industrial Development Corporations owned by the state. You can go there. They can assist you with anything, registering of business, or even you can go online, just as I mentioned, like the Peace Portal. We can register your business in a matter of hours. Then it will be sorted.
So it's advisable ukuthi just uxhumanisa nabanye ngoba abanye abantu bakhona abantu abasuke bazi eduze kwabo, but you find them ukuthi they are just bayivalele, they cannot ukuthi umuntu azehlise ahamba yobuza kulowa muntu. So kwesinye isikhathi uthola usukhokha imali engaka nomzali wakhe esekhipha imali engaka, but kanti bikhona indlela that cheaper or free to do that. You can continue.
Yes, exactly. Well, now we can then focus on the good news. That's the
good news.
The social grants also has been increased. We know that's the child support grant has been increased by 20 rand. For the old age has been increased by 30 rand. Foster grant has also been increased by 10 rand. But then a lot of people has complained, especially unions and other commentators and even analysts, because if you look at the increase, it's below the inflation rates. Remember that the increase must be ahead of the inflation rates, because if it's below, this means you are worse off than before. So the increase must be above the inflation rates. But then Ntombiyezwi was asked that question, and then he said that there's no obligation, there's no constitutional obligation for him as the minister or the government to increase the social grant by this much. So they just it was just the initiative in order to help the poor people in the country. But there's no constitutional obligation. That's each and every year the grant must increase by this certain percentage. So that was his argument. This was his response. So it made sense for doing that. That's why he even said that 66% of the budget goes to the social service of the country. So it now is viewed as the pro-poor budget. You know, it doesn't focus on the middle class or even the rich. But even though the rich, they were happy, because the rich are the people who owns the companies. Remember, there's I spoke about the wealth tax, which is possible that it must be introduced. So the wealth tax, the people who are wealthy want to be taxed. Even in the corporate tax, it wasn't increased. For now, it's remaining 28%, which is still very high compared to the international standard, which is 26%. So in order to attract the foreign direct investment, so the National Treasury now is planning, maybe over the years, maybe next year or in the next budgets, they will try to decrease increase our corporate tax rate in the country to be 23.6% in order to attract the foreign direct investment. So lapho kusuke sesiyinkampani zangaphandle kwamanye amazwe ukuthi azizotshala imali zazo le South Africa. So the times zitshala imali zakho South Africa is where lapha amathuba emisebenzi amaningi ezodaleka khona. So lapho sesibabiza khona sibaheha sibatshena khona ukuthi no wozani la kulula ukusinizweza amabhizinisi in South Africa. Because you know many countries have been complaining, many companies, multinational companies, that's been complaining that it's very difficult to do business in South Africa. Because for example, it's difficult to hire someone in South Africa because of the law, because of the legislation involved. It's very difficult in South Africa to dismiss or fire the employee or even retrench the employee because now you have to go to different processes or stages. There's CMA, there's labor cost, there's union also. So it's very difficult. Unlike in countries where you are going to Indonesia, Vietnam, China, even India, because you find countries like USA now they are doing more of their production in companies like India. You find that the companies that produce the computer components like IBM, most of their production is in India other than in United States. The reason why is because it's cheaper to do business in India compared to United States. They're choosing India because it's cheaper to do business in them. So that's why Cyril Ramaphosa and also the COM, they are trying by all means to make sure that South Africa is conducive environment to do business. It's less costly to do business in South Africa. So that's why now they are trying, they will planning to decrease rather the corporate tax in our country. So remember, that's also the personal and income tax bracket has been increased by 5%, which is the good news. To people who are working, especially people who are working as doctors, nurses, you name them all, all the middle class for that matter. So they mean that, and in other ways. So if you are earning, example, if you are earning 100,000 rand per month, not per month, per year. If you are earning 100,000 rand per year, this means that you've now been saving 25% compared to the previous year. Because in Gamayamazo, then this year will be saving 756 rand. So because that's why that Ntombiyezwi then introduced that increase in tax bracket, which is also the good news is that it's above the inflation rates. Remember that there's a monetary policy which the Reserve Bank which then controls the interest rates. And then we have the fiscal policy, which is then Ntombiyezwi and core, which we are dealing with the fiscals, which deal with the budgets in order to sustain or increase the economy of the nation. And then looking at the bad news, also I mentioned that is likely to happen, that the sales tax will increase. We know that's your vodka, your whiskey, your cider, your cigarettes also has been increased. They always been increased each and every year. Each and every purchase they will be going to be increased because consumption has to be discouraged in the society. Because you know it's causing heavy. Remember that during the lockdown, this was easy for government to close down the sale of alcohol or distribution of alcohol because of the pressure that it's causing to the hospital, to the state hospital, the trauma units and stuff, for all of those things, so that the government is easy for them to lock those business out. So those businesses, even though the tax rate has increased because their product that they sell is more addictive. So even the consumption, the change in consumption was that much, it won't be a significant change. This must be dropped because that won't discourage the person to leave or stop smoking entirely. Maybe they can reduce the losses of smoking or even alcohol, but they might reduce, but to stop it entirely, that won't happen. So that was the reason, because it's a sin tax. It's always, that's why it's called the sin tax in order, because it's being discouraged in our society that we live in.
So that even our young ones, they cannot to buy.
Yes, this is the good news for them, because now it's really expensive for them in order to go and buy alcohol in order to enjoy themselves. So that will be the best news for them.
Because abaningi vele highlight lokho ukuthi it will help a lot, because ingane zethu zona kakhulukazi othola ukuthi seyikhoza yonke havoc even emalokishini and so forth. But ke ukubuka ukuthi even though kube nalowo umsindo, but washeshe wabona futhi ukuthi uyaphela because bonile ukuthi kune understanding.
Yes, exactly. Because the argument of the South African breweries, the SAP, is that they employ the large population in the country. Because one person out of 15 is employed
Sure.
by SAP directly or indirectly.
Sure.
SAP it does not only selling alcohol, but it's
Okay.
on different beverages.
Yes,
because even they have also the affiliates with Coca-Cola, the
Yes,
API,
yes,
they own API, so they influence the economy a lot.
Okay.
So it's the most admired company in South Africa. I
Yes,
also
yes.
remember mentioning that before. Let's say even in 2005, SAP was the biggest contributor of tax in South Africa, more than all the mining companies combined.
Sure.
Remember also the good news is that the reason why the tax rate wasn't increased this year. That's last year in December. The tax rate, the tax income from VAT,
Yes.
as well as the tax from the personal. The personal income tax was higher than expected, so they
Okay.
receive, I think, what 100 billion rand that we receive.
Okay.
That's why Ntombiyezwi in his budgets, they decided not to increase any tax.
Okay.
So decided not to increase the tax because of this over collection. This was unexpected
Yes,
in
yes,
December. So that was the money was coming from.
Sure. Thank you with this. Siyabonga kakhulu because lezi zinto lezi zenza ukuthi nathi ingqondo yethu ilayitheke up iyenza ukuthi sikwazi ukubuka ukuthi sibhekephi ngempela as abantu bakusasa okumele kube yibona abazokwazi ukuphatha lelizwe nabazokwazi. So mhlawumbe umbuzo wami cause kade nginawo ngibuza ukuthi ke what can be mhlawumbe umuntu ongafuna ukuthi akwazi ukuyimela noma akwazi ukuthi angene ngizothi angene kwezomnotho eSouth Africa emncane. So now umenshine ukuthi umuntu aqale ibhizinisi lakhe. So looking at ukuthi okay now sengiqalile ibhizinisi lami, so ikhona yini indlela yokuthi umuntu akwazi ukulokho enyuka kancane kanjalo?
Yes, there is because the main thing that you have to focus on is to do your own research.
Okay.
And because if you are opening or you are entrepreneur, you want to open your own venture, launching your own venture.
Yes.
You need also to see what is the need in this country.
Okay.
What does my country needs?
Okay.
You know, that should be your main focus.
Yes.
And also don't focusing on the now, on the future. Where will business be in my future? Where does this business will take me in the next years or so?
Okay.
So if you start your business, it's very difficult. Many businesses fail at the early stage because of the funding.
Yeah, because that was the thing that engibukayo ukuthi abantu abaningi bafeyila besalapha enzansi.
Yes, that's the problem is the funding. We know that even NYDA do offer funding. Limited funding, even banks now they do offer funding.
Yes.
Some even if you're in KZN, Tyler they also do offer you a loan, even a grant in some point, some stage.
Yes.
That's why many people says that if you open your business, you need to at least have some cash.
Okay.
But my advice is that if you have the right and a bright idea, the money flows.
Okay.
Even if you don't have the money, no focus, but if you have the price idea, the money will flow to you. Some investors, the angel investor will come to you, invest your money.
Okay.
But not don't sit down and wait for that angel investor to come invest your money. You know, you need to go and knock the door to financial institutions. If you need the loan, if you need a grant, go and ask for the loan. Go, just keep yourself busy and go knock the door.
Okay.
Something will happen. Once you start your business, once your business starting to make cash.
Yes.
Then you will then maybe go to some kind of training how to manage the business, how to manage your finances, how to purchase my business, you know, how to deal with this certain cost, how to employ people, you know, you go and understand. As you start your own business, you go into different stages with your business. You want to get some knowledge, you will go to even attend certain conferences, the business conferences, the business exhibition, or even centers. You don't find the people who are in your infant stage or in the toddler stage or in infant stage, people who are like you, your peers in business, will then even give you the certain ideas, not maybe giving directly, but indirectly. Then you can just do and also ask for their assistance. But the financial institutions are there, even though financial institutions is very difficult for them because they also want the collateral from you. Maybe you wouldn't have that at the moment or at the stage, but then go to the government agencies. As I've said before, that's 4 billion rand has been given to small business development in order to help the business from rural as well as in township areas. So the money is there. You just go and start on your own thing and be independent and address the unemployment challenge that we are facing in the country.
Okay. Mhlawumbe siya ngasekupheteni ukubuka nje ukuthi okay now ku 2021 and now nazo sabelo zeimali zikhona and then wena ngokwakho uma ubuka njani?
Well, this year we've been hit hard by the pandemic.
Yes.
The government at the moment is busy rolling out the vaccine, which is the challenge of its own.
Yes.
Because it is something that the country has never experienced before. Even though the vaccine rollouts is still in progress, you know, they are still busy with the phase 1, where the frontline workers are still vaccinated. So because the government is planning to vaccinate 40 million population, which is 40 million people, which is 67% of the population of the country. So in a period of 12 months, we're expecting at least 40 million people to be vaccinated, which is unattainable, which is not really won't be achieved. Because if you look at the numbers, we are expecting maybe 350,000 people per day to be inoculated to receive their jab in the period. So you see that is unrealistic by the government. And also taking into the consideration that we remember that the first batch of our vaccine, they were found that our efficacy is 22% less against the variant, the South African variant, some call it. And also there's AstraZeneca is now going to be donated to the AU to other countries in Africa. So now the phase 1 approach, we know that people are receiving the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which the South African President Ramaphosa is encouraging the people to go and vaccinate. So then, but also it will rely more on how the people receive or perceive the vaccine. So if people they are receiving positively, if they are willing to get the vaccine as far as possible, maybe in the 2 years, 24 months, 40 million people will be vaccinated. There are still going to be the glitches in the process, obstacle in the process, without a doubt. Because I think next week I'm also expecting another 80,000 doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccine. And then later stage, another further 300,000. Then the COVAX facility will also be giving their vaccine, as well as Pfizer. So this is the year where all the South Africans are expected to be inoculated. So you know it's going to be the chaos this year. But we are uncertain what will happen next. That is the problem, because even the scientists themselves, they are not so sure about the vaccine. What will be the effects thereafter? Are we going to return to normalcy after the country's been vaccinated? You know, because the normalcy where the people, even the gathering will then be allowed, maybe the full capacity. We are not so sure what will happen next. But then if you have any ideas, there are people out there, go knock the doors. Some sectors have already opened, even though we are still in level 3. But sectors are still open. Go and knock the door and get an assistance. If you want to want a loan, if you want a grant, go and assistant, go and be assistant and be help and start your own venture, and maybe something good might come up.
Wow, siyabonga kakhulu ke Mr. Zama, Mr. Ignatius. Yabona ke lolu suku la namhlanje ke usuku ngempela la khona sikukhuthaza khona ke Mntomusha ukuthi ke ungahlali ekhaya. So ngoba sesingidlalele, keep on watching, then you will find even izinto that you need. If you can repeat this so that uzokwazi, even you can look at our previous one esasika ngoba lapha ku YouTube uzokwazi ukuyithola, because these things are needed in you. Because next time we will just we will invite Mr. Zama, because he is a man of politics as well. So just to look ukuthi umuntu omusha ke kwi politics yena uwenze njani, because egcineni kosuku we want our president as iminyaka lokhu iqhubeka, we want our president, maybe one day it will be him, I don't know, maybe. So we want our president, we want our minister, you know, in all, like Mobuga minister or ungqongqoshe wezemali, ungqongqoshe yabo, and all that. Even ama cities, they would want ama mayors. So just be umuntu omusha on information, even today uwazi ukuthi bekwenzakalani, so that even mase kufika isikhathi you are able. So I think one day we will find ukuthi just usinikeze umuntu omusha nje a politician.
Yes, exactly. That's important kakhulu, kubalekile kakhulu. You run away from it, kubalekile kakhulu.
Okay, thank you very much. Yebo siyambonga kakhulu uJesu ke ngalesi sikhathi ke ukuthi ke sikwazile ukubuka ke sagxila ke bakithi nokuthi ke kunyuke ngamalini ke nokuthi ke you can still wena ke obukwazi ukuthi ubone isithola isibonelo sa 350, then siyazi ukuthi kuthiwa for next 3 months then usakwazi ukuthi uphume, so you can still ukuthi ukwazi ukuyithola. But mase uyitholile ukwazi ukusiza even ekhaya nokusizakala ke nawe kwezinye izinto, even to start your own business. This 350 can help you as well. because khona izinto mhlambe ongayigatherishile then ongakwazi ukuyilungisa uyiqoqe ndawonye ifike. I was inspired by one of the guy that was bewathola 350 then he was ibeka imali then yakwazi ukuthenga ilokhuzana iTV yabo just have a Netflix screen and then I was like okay into mangabe ufuna iyenzeke so ngamanye amazwi thina we must be ama-go getters, we must be abantu start now to save, start now ukuthi uyilungiselele ikusasa lakho ukuthi even if you want music kusasa you want inani you can start ngalo 350 nje uyabona mina I was inspired ngibona iTV yalo muntu ngathi hawu mara yazi khona abasebenza iminyaka they cannot buy such so nje uNkulunkulu kanigcine kanilondoloze siyambonga kakhulu ke so just enjoy your weekend we enjoy kahle ke bakithi siphathe kahle especially thina sibancane sikwazi ukulalela abazali kuzo zonke izinto abayikhuluma nabayishoyo. Don't forget ukuthi ke on Sunday we have a church online and emlazi ke bayithi siyazi ukuthi ke bakhona ke abazali bethu kanjani lapha eToti ke we Durban South sikhona ke bakithi Mount Carnation amazimtoti sikhona ke siyatholakala egameni lika Jesu so just ukuthi ke iweekend ube right nakusasa ube right ke ngiyazi ukuthi bakithi nginike nemicimbi ke ezesivala uFebruary abanye ke bakithi bayazala abanye ke bayashada abanye ba celebrate ama anniversary so just agcine kakulondoloze. I love you and I have to leave you here ke Facebook and then we go to and continue ku radio egameni lika Jesu. Phuma lapha na ngensizwa zase Sion eMount Carnation la zithi Jesu kubusa wena emhlabeni nasezulwini kubusa wena. Just nje sizophuma nje ngelinye igiya nangelinye inothi sithi nje it's Friday. Bye.
Babada, Sabelo, Sitrinko, Susomaga, Yazareda, Pamba Zama, Segin Tara, Nazagin Bono, got your hope and got you. Go to the Gitavani, Kanya, Zitembiso, Zako, Emil, Uncle Lulu, Maketa, Satan, Minango Shiu, Pagamani Mazanga, Pagate, Ingenico, Sekazu, Luagetulu, Palong, Sinda, Wangishi, and the fool. Musawena, Tabedi, Musawena, Napatuama, Musawena, Tokinda, Musawena, Tabedi, Napatuama, Tokinda, Ujesu wasemandulo wayezenzizimanga kusasenguye namhlanje wayezenzizimanga Ujesu wasemandulo Ujesu wasemandulo Jehova, ngoba nguyena umdali wakho konke yonke imibusi yakhothama ezulwini nasemhlabeni kubusa ye akekho ngabonela uJehova